अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यात् अन्न संभव यज्ञात् भवति परजन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः. Hello friends, this is the 14th shlok of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first go over its meaning. So the shlok says, Annat bhavanti bhutani, which means living beings become by food. Parjanyat anna sambhava, which means food is made possible by rain. Yagyat bhavati parjanyo, which means through yagya, rain is made possible. Yagya karma samudbhava, which means yagya and karma are produced together. So, in this shlok, Sri Krishna is alluding to the cycle of our connection with the yagya and the karma, which is sacrifice and action. And in the next two shloks, we will see how he will complete this whole cycle. So, this is just a part of that cycle that Sri Krishna is explaining to Arjun. And what he is saying over here is that through food, the living beings become alive or they become possible, and the food is made possible by rain. Then he says that the rain is made possible through yagya, and the yagya is the thing which happens with the karma. And karma over here means the selfless action, or you can say duty. So this is just part of the cycle. In the next slok, he is gonna then make a connection between the Vedas and the action. So that we'll discuss in tomorrow's video. In today's video, let us understand this part in itself. So the point that has been made by Sri Krishna over here is that with food, living beings become possible, which is quite simple to understand. Then he says that the food is become possible by rain, which is also quite simple to understand. When rain happens, then only one seed morphs into so many seeds when it is sown into the soil. So that is something which is easy to understand. Then he says that the rain is become possible by yagya, and this is something which is not very obvious. So typically this portion is explained through the Mimamsik interpretation, wherein it is understood that when you perform a fire sacrifice, then and you make offerings to gods through the fire, then gods become happy and so they bless us with fire. So it is understood to be in that sense. However, if you were to speak about it scientifically, then this is not something which is very convincing, because we know that rain is made possible when the vapors which are present in the air, they condense and then they fall down on earth. So you do not really see a direct connection between fire and rain in that sense. So it's a little bit difficult to understand. Now, of course, you can cause rain by fire, but then in that situation, the fire has to be very, very big. As an example, a forest fire, and there should be moisture in the air. Now, in India, of course, we have the whole season of monsoon where there is a lot of moisture in the air, and so it is possible that our ancestors used to burn a big fire and then used to cause the condensation on the particles that has been radiated from the fire and thus causing rain. So it's possible that something like that might have happened. But then again, if we are talking about this phenomena, then this is not a phenomena which is universal. If you were to burn a fire in a desert, for example, then of course you cannot really cause any rain to happen over there. Or if you were to burn a fire during summer months in India, then of course, since the air is dry, you might not be able to generate rain. So that's why I personally am not very convinced with that interpretation of this portion. And so what I will do is basically I will present to you my own interpretation. The interpretation of mine is basically based on the Sankhya interpretation, and the way I do it is basically I say that there is some metaphor that has been used over here. So let's have a look at that. So in on this planet, of course, the life becomes possible through food, and when the Kurukshetra war happened, at that time krishi, or the farming, had been the main source for attaining food. And because farming was the main source of attaining food, then the farmers needed rain, because they need water to really cultivate the crops. And the thing is that rain is something which is out of control of humanity, and so people used to interpret rain as divine help that they get when they want to cultivate food. So, if you were to look at it from that point of view, then you can see that Sri Krishna over here is alluding to the idea of the divine help when he's talking about the rain over here. And you have to understand the meaning of the food and rain also over here. So, first we have to understand that food is something which we need for sustaining our physical body, but physical body is something which is least important from the point of view of the from the point of view of Indian philosophy. From the point of view of Indian philosophy, the more important part is the subtle body and the Atma. And so Sri Krishna over here is alluding to that through metaphors. So just as food is needed to sustain the physical body, similarly the body which is subtle is sustained through knowledge. It's through knowledge that it becomes more and more strong. And just as the food is generated by rain, similarly the knowledge that we attain comes from insight. And insight is something which is only attained when we have the grace of God, because we know that there is no new knowledge that we can attain by ourselves through analysis and things like that. The knowledge actually comes to us through the grace of God. If you were to look at an object and you were to think about it, if you just superficially think about it, you will not really understand it in detail. To really understand in detail, you have to think about it far more deeply. So you have to do a lot of hard work, you have to do a lot of tapasya to really understand understand the object. And so this effort that you have to make is only when you get deep insights. It's like when you were studying any difficult subject, if you were to not really think about it and just think about it superficially, you will not really get the concept. It's only through practice, when you do a lot of problems in mathematics, is when you really understand the concepts of mathematics. Same thing for physics and things like that. So you have to make in a very sincere effort to understand the ideas, then only the ideas come to you. So this is basically the grace of God that you attain, because those insights come through that. They do not come by just your superficial thinking, they come to you through that divine intervention. So that is what has been represented by the rain making the rain making the selfless work, making the rain possible. And so the effort that you are making over here is basically the yajna, because yajna is sincere effort, and sincere effort is also sincere work, so sincere action. And so sincere action and sincere work is basically yajna, and therefore Shri Krishna is saying that yajna and karma, they come out together. So the insight you will only get when you are very sincere about it, when you have no personal attachment to this thing. You basically sincerely want to learn that thing, and so that is what actually is karma, and that is what is yajna. So I hope that I have explained this shlok well to you. With that, I will close this video. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.